You won't believe what this drone caught falling from the sky. We've reached a stage where it feels like we've seen it all, thanks to rapid advancements in technology, making the impossible seem possible. Yet, bizarre discoveries continue to surface. From mysterious cosmic bubbles to diamonds created from flowers, here are the 20 strangest objects that have been recently discovered. Number 20. 12-sided Roman object. The Roman dodecahedron. Several of these 12-sided Roman objects have been discovered across Europe over the past years. To this day, however, they're among the most mysterious artifacts ever found. You see, despite the fact that they're all over the European continent, no records of them exist, leaving their purpose a complete mystery. The dodecahedron is a hollow geometric object with 12 flat faces, each punctuated by a circular hole and studded corners. It's hard to accurately guess its purpose by its appearance alone. Over 100 of these objects have been discovered across northwestern Europe, from the British Isles to Hungary, but their purpose has eluded experts for centuries. Various theories have been proposed, including use as candle holders, surveying instruments, or even tools for knitting gloves. A recent discovery renewed the world's interest in these objects, and another theory has been put forward. Perhaps these objects were used for magical rituals. In the past, a more generally accepted theory was that these objects were used as a means to measure distances. However, that doesn't explain the lack of written records about them. If this object truly were used for magic rituals, everything would make sense. During the latter period of the Roman Empire, practices such as divination were frowned upon by the prevailing Christian authorities, leading to severe punishments. This could explain the absence of written records on their use. What's more, a recently discovered dodecahedron found in Belgium showed signs of deliberate breaking, possibly during a final ritual. Unfortunately, with no other pieces of evidence to confirm theories, the purpose of the dodecahedron remains a mystery. Number 19. Medieval game collection. Recently, archaeologists discovered these carved pieces during excavations at a castle in the Rhineland district of Germany. These pieces might look like modern game pieces, but these are actually from a 1,000-year-old game collection. Yes, you heard that right. Even during the medieval period, known as one of the darkest periods of mankind, people were playing games to entertain themselves and pass the time. Among the collection were a well-preserved chess knight, several gaming tokens, and a six-sided die. Unlike mass-produced pieces today, the collection features chess pieces carved from antlers. What's more, they're also incredibly detailed. Originally, chess originated from the ancient Indian game of chaturanga. Eventually, it made its way to Europe through the Muslim world and became a staple among the nobility by the 12th century. By the Middle Ages, chess was considered one of the 7 skills a good knight should master. However, chess sets back then were made by craftsmen. Surprisingly, these pieces withstood the test of time. Through these, however, we're able to get a glimpse of history. Number 18. Bizarre tardigrade. Here's another creature that was discovered in Japan, an even weirder species of tardigrade. Tardigrades, or water bears, are small extremophiles. They measure a mere 0.5 to 1.5 millimeters, which means they're not visible to the naked eye. Despite the fact that they're microscopic, tardigrades are actually considered animals. Let me tell you, they're the toughest out there. These creatures can live virtually everywhere. Space, volcanic areas, the ocean, and just about any extreme environment on our planet. Now, another species was discovered in a parking lot in Japan, particularly in Saka City. Molecular biologist Kaharu Arakawa was going about his research when he chanced upon this new species, now known as Macrobiotis schnaeacus. This tiny creature measures between 318 to 743 micrometers in length and has some unique features that set it apart from other tardigrades. Macrobiotis schnaeacus sports a chubby caterpillar-like body with 8 legs, each ending in tiny claws. Its mouth, shaped like an O and surrounded by 3 rows of teeth, gives it a perpetually surprised look. Most people would consider this animal terrifying, but for me, it's kind of adorable. It resembles other tardigrades when it comes to its appearance, but unlike other species, the eggs of this new one are adorned with chalice-shaped protrusions topped with delicate noodle-like filaments. These bizarre structures likely help the eggs attach to surfaces, ensuring their survival in the wild. What's more, this species is completely carnivorous. They live by munching on other microscopic animals, while the rest of their kin are generally omnivores. Despite these differences, this tardigrade species is as resilient as the rest. This species might be living in a parking lot, but this animal can still thrive in harsh conditions, including environments that would boil it at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 17. Rare German cheese. How adventurous are you when it comes to food? If you think you're open-minded when it comes to sampling bizarre and downright unappetizing food, then perhaps you'd be one of the few who would appreciate this strange German cheese. This specialty cheese is produced in a village in Saxony-Anhalt, Germany. Unlike cheddar, mozzarella, Parmesan, and other common types of cheese that only differ in flavor, texture, and way of manufacturing, this cheese has something special: live mites. Milben case, also known as mite cheese or spider cheese, dates back to the Middle Ages. It's made from balls of cork, another type of cheese, which are flavored with salt and caraway, then dried and placed in wooden boxes filled with rye flour and Tyrophagus casei mites. The digestive enzymes secreted by these mites cause the cheese to ripen, imparting a strong aroma and a distinctive nutty, tangy flavor with a zesty aftertaste. The rind, which is colored by the mite's activity, changes from yellow to brown and eventually black as the cheese matures over several months. The method of making this cheese was nearly lost around the 1970s, but thanks to the efforts of Helmut, a local science teacher who learned this technique from an elderly villager, this cheese-making method was kept alive. And so today, a single village in Germany is the only place where this special type of cheese is produced. Some people might not like this cheese, but this village is definitely proud of its product. So let me ask you again, would you be willing to sample this cheese if given the chance? I know I'd be willing to give it a taste. Number 16. Mysterious space bubbles. There are a lot of things in the universe that we're yet to understand, but this discovery is among the most fascinating, mysterious radio-emitting bubbles. These colossal spheres were spotted by researchers using the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory's Meerkat telescope. They resemble an enormous hourglass stretching above and below the Milky Way's plane. It measures a staggering 1,200 light-years across, which means it's incredibly massive. But what is this celestial object? Astronomers aren't certain, but it's likely that these bubbles are the remnants of a colossal explosion that took place around 7 million years ago. This explosion, equivalent to about 100-star supernovae, is thought to have originated from the Milky Way's central black hole, known as Sagittarius A. The cause of Sagittarius A's explosion might be a feeding frenzy, where it consumed vast amounts of different celestial objects and then expelled a portion of it. The explosion might also possibly be caused by a cluster of stars that formed and exploded around the same time. This discovery shows that our galaxy might have had a turbulent history. However, these mysterious celestial objects might reveal more to us in years to come. Number 15. Mysterious 2,000-year-old gold jewelry. This year, researchers in the Turkestan region of southern Kazakhstan unearthed gold jewelry, arrowheads, and a large bronze mirror from burial mounds dating back 2,000 years. This was a time when the Kangju state flourished, roughly between the 5th century BCE and the 4th century CE. The gold earrings are particularly stunning, crafted in a crescent shape and inlaid with gemstones. The quality of the artifacts shows just how wealthy their owners were and also the skills of the artisans who crafted these pieces. The mirror alone is considered a highly prized item throughout Eurasia. There's much to learn about this discovery and the culture behind these precious artifacts. Number 14. Rare gold pendant. Henry VIII is known for his 6 wives, each of whom became memorable figures in history. But one of the most significant wives of Henry VIII is arguably Catherine of Aragon. Catherine was married to Henry for 24 years. She was known as an intelligent and respected ruler who was devoted both to her husband and her Catholic faith. Now, the end of their marriage was quite messy. In Tudor England, being separated from one's husband or wife was very rare. Even if divorce was somehow made possible, the two would be frowned upon and wouldn't be allowed to remarry. To bypass this, Henry VIII needed the Pope himself to invalidate his marriage with Catherine. With Catherine's refusal to let go of the throne, the monarch found himself refused by the Church. No one expected what he did next. Realizing he couldn't get his way through the Pope, Henry challenged the authority of the Catholic Church and broke ties with Rome. Instead of following the Pope, the king declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England. This meant that he was free to decide England's religious future, including allowing divorce and annulment. Knowing this piece of history shows just how significant this discovery is. This rare gold pendant might look like any other historical artifact, but it is actually jewelry meant to celebrate the marriage of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Surprisingly, this artifact was found in a field in Warwickshire, England. The pendant is heart-shaped, measuring around 2.1 inches in length and crafted from 24-karat gold. It features intricate designs symbolizing the union of Henry and Catherine. On the front, a red and white Tudor rose entwined with a pomegranate bush, representing the royal couple, is accompanied by the inscription, plus oves plus eyes. If you understand French, perhaps you can understand this inscription. Experts claim it's a clever pun combining the French word toujours, which means always, and tout jours, meaning all days. Meanwhile, the reverse side bears the initials H and K in a decorative Lombardic script. This pendant likely dates back to around 1521, a time when Henry VIII commissioned various artworks to celebrate his marriage. The artifact's rapid production suggests it might have been made for a specific event, possibly serving as a prize or a token worn by participants in royal tournaments or banquets. The discovery has been heralded as one of the most significant Tudor finds in decades. The pendant has since been handed over to the British Museum, where it has undergone extensive analysis to confirm its authenticity. The museum's experts were initially skeptical, thinking it might be too good to be true, but careful examination dispelled those doubts. It's quite ironic that this jewelry lasted longer than the marriage it was meant to celebrate. Number 13. Jellyfish with red cross. Most jellyfish are translucent or transparent. While some species have special features, nothing will beat the distinction of the Sordaria pegasus jellyfish. After all, this species straight up has a bright red cross on its body. Unlike most jellyfish that blend into the ocean, this one has a big marking that makes it hard to miss. This rare species was first observed in 2002 in the Sumisu caldera, a deep-sea volcanic structure off the coast of Japan. However, it wasn't until 2023 that it was officially described and recognized. This red mark might seem like a counterintuitive trait to have in an environment where you're trying to remain undetected, but the red cross actually helps mask the bioluminescent glow of the jellyfish's prey. Since jellyfish consume bioluminescent creatures, once it enters their system, its glow can easily be seen through the jellyfish's body. Thanks to this mark, that glow won't be visible. So if you see floating plastic with a red cross on its body, make sure to double-check because, rather than a piece of plastic, it might be a live jellyfish. Number 12. 4,000-year-old Minoan structure. Recently, archaeologists in Crete discovered a 4,000-year-old structure that resembles a palace, yet not an ordinary one. This structure features an incredibly complex layout reminiscent of a labyrinth. This discovery ties closer to the myths of the labyrinth and the Minotaur, which are deeply rooted in Cretan history. The palace's intricate design includes a series of interconnecting rooms and corridors, suggesting it might have inspired the legend of King Minos Labyrinth, where the Minotaur was said to have been kept. It's located near the ancient city of Knossos, suggesting that this sprawling complex was also used as an administrative and possibly ceremonial center. It's astounding that people from 4,000 years ago managed to complete such a complicated structure. But one question remains. What's the significance of this labyrinthine structure? Was it truly only a palace inspired by Cretan myth, or was it meant to celebrate something else? Perhaps as research continues, we'll learn more about this complex. Number 11. Chopsticks in brain. Now let's take a break from historical discoveries and let me tell you about a pretty bizarre find made by an ordinary man. In 2023, a 35-year-old Vietnamese man complained about suffering from severe headaches. He endured it for 5 months until he decided that he had enough. Needless to say, even the doctors were astonished and completely floored when the diagnosis was complete. The man visited the Cuba Friendship Hospital in Dong Hoi, Vietnam. His symptoms included persistent headaches, vision loss, and fluid discharge from his nose. A quick CT scan revealed the problem: chopsticks. Yes, chopsticks. It turned out that there were chopsticks penetrating his brain, causing pneumocephalus, a rare and potentially life-threatening condition. The patient initially had no clear memory of how the chopsticks ended up in his skull. However, he later recalled a drunken altercation 5 months earlier, where the chopsticks might have somehow been inserted in his nose. What's more bizarre is that he recalled visiting the hospital after the incident, but the chopsticks were left undetected. Doctors, led by Dr. Noon Van Man, decided to perform endoscopic surgery to remove the chopsticks and repair the cranial fistula. The surgery was successful, and once again the 35-year-old man was able to live without worrying about splitting headaches. So if you're experiencing anything bizarre, you might want to get checked out immediately. Number 10. Flower diamond. Diamonds are forever, as the saying goes. These precious stones have been valued for years, and now we found a way to create them out of flowers. Yes, you heard that right. Chinese researchers have successfully created a diamond from the carbon elements derived from red peonies. This remarkable 3-carat diamond was unveiled in Luoyang, Hunan province, and is valued at approximately 300,000 yuan, or about $41,000. The process of creating this diamond involves a sophisticated technique developed by Luoyang Time Promise Company, a company specializing in synthetic diamonds. The method starts with extracting carbon from the red peonies using a specialized device that breaks the chemical bonds of the carbon atoms. These atoms are then subjected to high temperature and pressure, replicating the natural conditions under which diamonds form. The carbon atoms reorganize into a diamond structure, resulting in a stunning gemstone. Despite the fact that it's made out of a flower, the gemstone is still beautiful. As researchers continue to refine these techniques, we might see a different trend in jewelry in the next decades to come. Number 9. World's largest leech. You're looking at a living nightmare or the largest leech in the world. This is the Amazonian giant leech, and if you're afraid of worms or caterpillars, this creature will surely be something straight off your nope list. It was first discovered in 1849 by an Italian naturalist, Vittorio Giuliani. For years, it was thought to be extinct until it was rediscovered in the 1970s. Recently, however, there was a renewed interest in these creatures because of a social media post. Unlike most leeches that use jaws to puncture their prey's skin, this leech species employs a proboscis, a needle-like appendage, to pierce the skin. This proboscis can reach up to 10 centimeters in length, injecting a numbing agent to ensure the host doesn't feel a thing. Their saliva also contains a potent anticoagulant, keeping the blood flowing long after they detach from their victim. These creatures are voracious eaters, but at the same time, they can easily last for months without feeding, making them quite the resilient creatures. Number 8. 1,600-year-old stone with Irish inscription. A geography teacher named Graham Sr. was in his garden in Coventry, England, when he took notice of a bizarre stone. The stone was about the size of a chocolate bar and weighed around 139 grams and had several markings inscribed on it. It's believed that the inscriptions were from the Ogham alphabet, an early medieval script used primarily to write the Irish language. The Ogham script, which consists of straight lines carved into the edges of stones, was used between the 4th and 6th centuries. This particular stone bears the inscription of a personal name, possibly Maldumel, though the exact meaning of the rest remains a mystery. The stone's discovery in England is unusual, as Ogham inscriptions are typically found in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. The stone has been donated to the Herbert Art Gallery and Museum in Coventry, where it's currently on display. The inscriptions, however, remain a mystery to this day. Number 7. Millipede River. A millipede river is something that most people wouldn't want to see, including myself. But hey, if you come across something like this, it's better for you to know what it is, right? A millipede river is exactly what it is. This phenomenon occurs when countless slow-moving millipedes crawl on the ground in unison. This has been observed by several tourists and tour guides in the mountains of Taiwan. To this day, we're still unsure about what causes the millipedes to behave this way. Some believe that such mass movements of millipedes could be linked to environmental or weather changes, while others wonder if it might be an omen of natural disasters, as folklore suggests that animals can sense impending earthquakes. Number 6. 60,000 bees. Most kids have active imaginations. However, this doesn't mean you should ignore a child when they tell you about something that you think is impossible. Take the story of a 3-year-old girl named Sailor from Charlotte, North Carolina, as an example. Earlier this year, the 3-year-old girl complained of monsters in her room, something that most kids complain about. Sailor's concern, however, was valid. It turned out that she was hearing bees living in the walls of her own room, an entire 60,000 of them. Initially, Sailor's parents thought that their young one was merely having nightmares because of a movie. However, the situation took a serious turn when Sailor's mother, Ashley Glass, noticed an increasing number of bees around their 100-year-old farmhouse. Concerned, the family called in a pest control expert who, using a thermal camera, discovered a massive hive inside the walls of Sailor's room. The camera revealed a large heat source that turned out to be a colony of honeybees that had been there for approximately 8 months. The beekeeper, whom Sailor affectionately called the monster hunter, worked meticulously to remove the bees without harming them, as honeybees are a protected species in the United States. The removal process involved vacuuming the bees into special containers and safely relocating them to a bee sanctuary. In total, the beekeeper removed between 55,000 and 65,000 bees along with about 100 pounds of honeycomb. This extensive operation caused significant damage to the house, including the electrical wiring, resulting in repair costs exceeding $20,000, which, quite unfortunately, their insurance did not cover as it was deemed preventable pest damage. Perhaps Sailor's parents would have rather dealt with imaginary monsters than an entire swarm of bees. That's one expensive extermination. While this cost might deter you from contacting an expert in transporting bees, you really wouldn't want to take up the task of transporting such a massive colony yourself. Now it's time for today's topic. A drone captured a mysterious object that fell from the sky. This bizarre debris was discovered in an open field. A man was flying his drone when he spotted this bizarre metal object. He quickly located the object to take a closer look, but despite investigating it, he couldn't figure out what it was. Local authorities claimed that the metal object was most likely nothing but space junk. It's something not widely known, but objects from space, specifically debris, can re-enter our atmosphere. Most of the time, however, it's easy to identify them, and so this object continues to intrigue many, with some even claiming that it's extraterrestrial in origin. Any guesses as to what this object could be? Number 5. Mushroom on a frog. Naturalist Chin Malia and wetland specialist Lohit YT from the Worldwide Fund for Nature India were exploring the Western Ghats when they chanced upon a creature they didn't expect, an ordinary Rau's intermediate golden-backed frog. What's bizarre, however, is the fact that a mushroom was growing on its back. Now, fungi are known to be resilient organisms. However, they typically grow on decaying organic matter. So, finding a mushroom on a live frog is highly unusual. The mushroom was identified as a saprotrophic species, which generally feeds on dead or decomposing organic material. To this day, the exact nature of the relationship between the fungus and the frog remains unclear. Some scientists suggest it could be a benign colonization, while others worry about potential pathogenic implications for the amphibian. Should we start preparing for when fungi overtake us? I sure hope not. Number 4. Arsenic-infused books. If you see a green book, you might want to take a look at the year when it was published. If you're not careful, you might be handling a potentially deadly book without knowing it. During the 19th century, the invention of book cloth allowed for the mass production of book covers that were not only durable but also visually appealing. This visual appeal, however, came with a cost. One of the most popular pigments used in these covers was Paris green, also known as emerald green. This vibrant green pigment was highly coveted for its intensity and aesthetic appeal. However, it was made using arsenic, a toxic substance that posed serious health risks. Arsenic was widely used during the Victorian era, not just in books but also in wallpapers, textiles, and even food coloring. The dangers of arsenic were well known, yet its use persisted due to its effectiveness and the bright colors it produced. In books, the pigment could flake off over time, releasing arsenic particles into the air or leaving residue on the hands of anyone handling the book. This exposure could lead to acute symptoms such as gastrointestinal distress and, over time, more severe health issues including lesions and cancer. While there are no documented cases of serious illness directly linked to handling these books, the potential risks are enough for conservators to collect these books not only to preserve them properly and safely, but also to prevent people from unknowingly endangering themselves. Number 3. Picasso moth. This small creature might not look real, but it is a real creature native to northern India and Southeast Asia. This beautiful creature is known as the Picasso moth. Quite aptly named, the Picasso moth's wings span approximately 2 inches. Its wings are predominantly white, adorned with streaks of yellow, coral dots, and black lines that resemble brush strokes. These colors and patterns evoke the works of famous modern artists like Pablo Picasso. Despite the name of this species, the patterns on its wings do not resemble Picasso's artworks. Even so, I'm sure Pablo Picasso would be delighted that such a beautiful being is named after him. Number 2. World's lightest bag. Would you ever use this bag? This is the Air Swipe bag by Parisian fashion house Capari. This groundbreaking handbag is made from silica aerogel, a material renowned for being the lightest solid on Earth. The bag, co-developed with Greek researcher Ioannis Mikos, is composed of 99% air and only 1% glass, resulting in an astonishingly light weight of just 37 grams. Silica aerogel, the key material used in the Air Swipe bag, was originally developed by NASA for space missions due to its exceptional properties. This nanomaterial is known for its incredibly low density, high thermal resistance, and the ability to withstand pressures 4,000 times its own weight. Despite its delicate appearance, the bag is surprisingly robust and capable of holding various items without breaking. It was featured on runways, but its price isn't released. Considering the material it's made of, however, it most likely would have a very steep price tag. Number 1. First carved horse. Archaeologists have discovered what's believed to be the oldest known horse sculpture made by anatomically modern humans, or Homo sapiens, our species. This horse statue was discovered in the Vogelherd cave in southern Germany. It's a mere palm-sized artifact, measuring only 1 inch high and 1.9 inches long. Despite the fact that the sculpture was created 35,000 years ago, the ivory figure is not only well preserved but also incredibly detailed. This goes to show that 35,000 years ago, humanity was already skilled in crafting. This discovery also adds to the many pieces of history showing that humanity and horses had a close relationship since antiquity. Today, the Vogelherd horse is housed in a museum in Germany as a reminder of our ancient ancestors' creativity. Which of these discoveries surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. Also check out our other cool videos showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.